What do I, as a financial professional, think about the early retirement on $500,000 community here on YouTube? Stay with me. First things first, I have a newsletter, the Your Rich Auntie newsletter. I'm going to pin a link to sign up for that newsletter in the comments section and also in the description section. If you haven't signed up, please do so. There's a lot of information I put in the newsletter that doesn't appear here on the channel. Let's talk about early retirement on $500,000. I like the community here on YouTube. I've done videos about them before, and there's a few content creators that I do follow here on YouTube, and they're actually in the trenches of retirement. I like them because they're very transparent about their lives, and they talk about what circumstances led them to an early retirement in their early or mid 50s. That's how I define early retirement, someone retiring between the age of 50 to 55, maybe to 60, and they have 500,000 saved in either a retirement account, a brokerage account, savings account, or across a variety of accounts. Now, I do like the content that these content creators provide. I disagree with the message. I strongly disagree with the message. I don't believe that most people should be retiring in their mid to early 50s with $500,000 in a retirement account. And earlier this week, there was a great example of this. There's a content creator whose content I really like, and he shows month by month how much money he has and how much money he's taken out. He really shows the interplay of money. He retired in mid 2021. So he's been retired for 4+ years, and he was showing his September numbers. And basically, he was commenting that his September numbers are basically largely the same as what he retired with 4 years and some months ago. And wasn't that pretty remarkable? He had 500,000 when he retired. He still has 500,000 in the accounts. And I was thinking to myself, that may outwardly look really good, but as a financial professional, I find that extremely alarming. And reason being, between early mid 2021 and today, the US economy underwent about a 20% rate of inflation. And that includes consumer goods, transportation, food, clothing, housing, medical, you name it. Across the board, we went 20% rate of inflation. And this guy's number doesn't reflect that rate of inflation. Technically, if he retired with 500,000, he should have closer to 600,000 in his accounts now to account for that level of inflation. Instead, he has just the same amount. Technically, that 500,000 has about 400,000 of purchasing power based on where it was 4.5 years ago, which is very, very alarming. But it's kind of a devil in the details sort of thing. And unless you are a financial professional or financial advisor, you probably wouldn't catch that and say, hey, wait a minute, this is pointing towards a larger problem that's only going to get bigger and scarier as time goes on. I don't think we're out of the woods with inflation yet. Given the totality of the economic policies of this administration, it looks like there's set to be a second round of inflation. And historically, inflation often comes in twos. And we may see a recurrence of our old friend stagflation, which is absolutely terrifying, in addition to inflation, which is pretty scary for most Americans. But bottom line is that his mathematics didn't really take into account inflation. And the issue I have with a lot of the early retirement with 500,000 people is they're not going to notice the problem immediately. They're going to notice the problem likely in their early to mid 70s. And by the time they notice the problem and they start seeing a rapid decline in their accounts, it's going to be too late to fix it. They're not going to be able to add more money or go back to work. They're just going to be in a bad situation that is going to get even worse. I wanted to point out a few other things about the 55 retirement at 55, 500,000 community. A lot of these people have jobs. Maybe they don't have their 9 to 5 jobs, but these people have income or revenue producing activities in a life. If you're a content creator on YouTube, a lot of people don't know this about YouTube, but finance is the highest paid content creation area on YouTube. And if you have a channel with 50,000 viewers and a regular subscribership and regular content producing, you can be bringing in $2,000 to $3,000 a month on a channel. Sometimes a content creator will tell you that, sometimes a content creator won't, but that's a pretty decent amount of income for a retiree. Many of these people have pensions. Maybe they worked in state, maybe they were teachers, police officers, firefighters, military, where at a very young age, they have a very rich pension. And sometimes a content creator will tell you that. Sometimes a content creator is more opaque about their income source. But if you have YouTube money coming in and you have a pension, maybe you can replicate most of your salary that you had when you were working full time and maintain your standard of living. A lot of these people are in partnerships. They're either married or they're in a relationship, and everything is split in two because they're sharing their home with their girlfriend or their boyfriend. Maybe their wife or husband still works and they get their health insurance, vision, dental through their spouse, and their spouse has a second income. It's a lot easier to talk about early retirement with $500,000 when you basically have a second income and a second source who's going to be working for the next 5 or 10 years. That makes things a lot easier and a lot rosier. There's a question about insurance. Some of these people have partners that work, but if you don't have a partner that works and you're not eligible for Medicare until you were age 65 and you're not eligible for Medicaid, where are these people getting their health insurance? I'm assuming that they're getting their health insurance through the Obamacare exchange, but the recent policy of this administration has been kind of hostile to Obamacare, and that may be undergoing major changes or coming to an end. If that happens, where would you get your health insurance, or where would you get affordable health insurance until you were age 65 and are eligible to sign up for Medicare? There's also a question of Social Security. Social Security looks at your top 35 years of earnings. If you're retiring early at age 50 or at age 55, you may not have worked long enough or consistently enough to have 35 years of earnings. And if you don't have that, it severely impacts how much you will get from Social Security when you finally do retire. I don't know if the person was able to secure 35 years of earnings, or at least knew to go back and look at their earnings over Social Security to realize that if they didn't have 35 years of earnings, their Social Security would be broadly impacted, and how much money they would receive from Social Security would be broadly impacted. Finally, my last bone to pick with the early retirement at 500,000 community. Let's say this person is 55 and they have 500,000 saved for retirement. If they worked another 10 years and retired at age 65, they wouldn't have to put another nickel in their retirement savings account. If they just let compound interest take over at 8% for 10 years, they would have over $1 million at age 65 in their retirement account. And $1 million at age 65, you can do something with that and you can have a greater safety net. If they have 500,000, they're in their early or mid 50s, they have a shot at a really good retirement, but they could potentially be blowing it by deciding to retire early and just making it work. And I always ask myself, or I always ask people who are in this community, what is their plan if they're wrong? What if they get it wrong? Like I said, you're not gonna know it immediately if you get it wrong. You won't know it until 15 years into your retirement. Are you really going to go out and get a job at 78 because your numbers just didn't add and you need money and whatever Social Security you're getting isn't enough to make ends meet? What is your plan if you do get it wrong? There you have it, my thoughts on the early retirement on 500,000 community. Tell me what you think. Tell me what you like and tell me what you don't like. If you found this information useful, please do like, share, and subscribe. Thanks.